Let's further discuss this now with Joe Siracusa. He's a professor of security and diplomacy at Curtin University in Australia, and he joins me now live from Perth. Professor, thank you so much for being with us on the program. I want to first get your thoughts on everything that we've seen unfolded in these universities across the U.S., particularly the response that we've been seeing from the police force and the condemnation, the strong condemnation that we've heard from both Biden and Netanyahu.
Good afternoon, Efnan. Well, look, I've been watching this very closely. I confess I've seen this movie before. I was an anti-war protester in my 8 years at university in the 1960s. I know how this works. And what the government's afraid of is that these students who have an enormous clout when they come together is going to be able to bring down the Biden administration and make a whole lot of things happen. Governments are afraid of what these students can do. These are the best and the brightest America have, from California to Boston and New York, and they represent all kinds of views. Now, the mainstream media in America, which really isn't interested in the daily murder, the killings in Gaza, are going to paint this as a free speech issue, anti-Semitic, which is ridiculous. Many of the people there are they want to see the killing stop. They want to see the aid to the military aid to Israel stop, things that are done in their name. They want an end to that kind of thing. And so there are all kinds of views represented. Now, we got a mix here of bad chemistry. We've got outside agitators who can't wait to get on the campus, and there are no gates on university walls. Anybody can walk in. These are people who are more violent, and Americans are violent by nature. I mean, you can see that in American life. And so you got all these people protesting. They want America to put the brakes on Israel. They want to stop aiding Israel militarily. And then they've added another wrinkle to it, Efnan. They want America to divest in any industries that are related to Israel, whether manufacturing or arms or things, that kind of thing. Now, look, this was done during the 1960s with Vietnam, and it brought the war to an end, a very nasty end, actually. And it was done in the anti-apartheid movement in the 1980s, brought the American government on the side of Mandela and others. Took about 10 years. And these things do turn violent, I admit that. But, what we're looking at here now is the dress rehearsal for the Democrats when they show up in Chicago for their nominating convention in August. In 1968, these same people, my generation, showed up in Chicago in 1968 and tore the place down. Mm-hmm. And the cops, as cops do, tend to overreact. And there are all these ugly scenes for 10 days on American television. And that was the career of Hubert Humphrey. He never had a chance to be president. Mm-hmm. And it allowed Richard Nixon to make an end run. So in many ways, these are very predictable. But what you're seeing is a very complicated thing. These people who are anti-Israeli are not anti-Semitic, though there is plenty of that, I assure you.
Right. That's a very important point that you're making there, because one of the main issues that, people that have spoken against these protests, they're saying these protests are anti-Semitic, and it's causing an increase in hate towards the Jewish public there, and Jewish students in particular that are part of the university as well. Professor, you touched on how history has proven these methods to be effective. Just walk us through the response that we've so far heard from administrators within the universities, and how effective these protests that we're seeing unfold today, would be in the policies that would be conducted by the Biden administration moving forward.
Well, the administrators, as administrators are, they don't really know what to do, Efnan. I mean, they've got protests on campus. They have people who are complaining one way or the other about the disruption, et cetera, and they can't throw everybody out. These kids pay $60,000, $70,000 a year for tuition. You're not going to cut your neck off, as a matter of fact. So the administrators aren't sure what to do. And when they were called to Washington to condemn certain things, I mean, they really got snookered. They should never have gone. And I'll tell you this, if the Speaker of the House of Representatives showed up at the University of Colorado in 1966 at the height of the anti-war protests, he would have had bricks thrown at him. This guy showing up today telling these people to play nice is almost a parody. I mean, you've been watching the American House of Representatives. I mean, it's run like a hen house anyway. I mean, and of course, he's invited the cops in. And cops don't particularly like students. Then he invited the National Guard in, which is none of his business. That's a call by the governor. So you get these politicians who are stirring up problems for their own benefits. You got the administrators who frankly don't know what to do. And the few who resigned, they resigned in, I think, out of frustration. You know, they didn't do anything in particular. They didn't know what to do. But to say this is about free speech is not right. America has the right to protest anything they want under the First Amendment. And you know, Thomas Jefferson said very famously in one of the last letters he ever wrote that the tree of liberty has to be nourished from time to time with the blood of patriots and tyrants. And these kids regard the government of the United States as anti-human and anti-American by supporting policies that kill women and children willy-nilly without any particular purpose in mind.
Okay, Professor Joe Siracusa, thank you so much for being with us here on the NewsHour. It was a pleasure speaking to you.
Thank you.